Hey, sports parents, welcome to Old School Sports Parenting. We are in the process of talking about recruiting and scholarships. This is the fourth in a four-part series about those. And today we're going to talk about just how and when to close the deal on these things. As I mentioned in the last video, there's no substitute for visiting college campuses to really get a read on the place, the site, the team, the facilities. And again, at schools that offer athletic scholarships, the best way to do this is via an official visit. And we talked about official visits last time. Just want to quickly recap. This is an invitation-only event. The school offers it. They pay for everything for your kid, and they may even pay for your lodging and meals, but they don't think they can pay for your travel unless you and your child are in the same car, which obviously you're going to be most of the time. You'll probably need to cover your own expenses, as I meant, for travel, and also for souvenirs. It's against NCAA regs to offer you anything even as small as a key change or a cap. So don't expect any kind of souvenir bonanza unless they find a way to get around it. You know, some rich donor. Don't quote me on that. Your child should take as many official visits as he gets offered and as the NCAA will permit for your particular sport. The number varies. As a parent, you're going to probably tour the campus with your child. You'll see different stuff, but your kid, your youngster, will spend lots of time in meetings with coaches, with other players, and certainly will attend a number of social gatherings, especially if you're there over a weekend. Expect to see him the next morning with, at the very least, bloodshot eyes from maybe a lack of sleep. Welcome to college, kid. What should you look for during these visits? Mainly a sense of belonging on the part of the players. Do they seem happy and excited to be there? Can your son or daughter imagine spending half their life with these people over the next 4 and possibly 5 years and making some of them best friends for life? How about the coaches? Do they know all the players by name? Do they make an effort to greet you and you know, make some small talk and welcome you to the school? If not, the staff could be hiding a few stiffs to avoid turning your kid off. We've had that experience. Won't mention any names, won't mention any schools, but it does happen. Common wisdom says that you should evaluate the school on the basis of the academics and facilities alone and ignore the sports side of it completely. And that's fine if you are going to a non-scholarship facility, a non-scholarship program. But if your son or daughter is getting a scholarship, the sports part of this is going to be at least as important as the academic and social and facilities side of things. Scholarship sports are a year-round commitment, and your kid's going to spend 25 to 40 hours a week during the season with the staff and teammates, and at least 10 or 20 hours a week in the off season. Again, depending on the sport, some of those numbers may even be conservative. But the point is, this is not something that you want to ignore when you're evaluating offers. Don't get too hung up on the academic reputations of these schools as well. With a few real notable exceptions, the logo on the sheepskin is not likely to necessarily springboard your young graduate to the top of the CEO's hire this kid list. The quality of your child's education the value and quality depend more on what he puts into it than the logo on the sheepskin. The last stop before you leave the campus will very likely be a meeting with the head coach, or maybe the head coach and the position coach that happens to be recruiting your son or daughter. In this meeting, the coach often will suggest that your child make a commitment now to avoid, losing the offer. As I mentioned in the past, that schools do over-offer on scholarships. They may have 18 or 20 to give, but they may offer 40 kids or more. Unless your child is in love with the school that you're at, resist the urge to commit right away. Nothing wrong with giving the coach a timetable. I'll know by Friday, coach, but let your kids sleep on it once or for a night or two. Have some conversations about, teammates, the staff, etc. Make sure when you say yes, you mean yes, and not yes unless somebody comes around next week for something I like better. As signing day approaches, your child may hear from coaches even more, and recruiters, emails, letters, those kinds of things. And they may increase the pressure and start asking, when are you going to decide? We need to let our other recruits know what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. Again, fight the urge to say, okay, we'll take it. Unless and until your child is completely convinced this is where he or she wants to go. Once he's made a decision, your kid should make calls to as many of the coaches as possible and thank them for the opportunity and explain his decision directly. Don't burn any bridges in this process. Lots of stuff can change. But at this point, his decision's got to become a true commitment. There's no looking back. There's no regretting, no wishing that he'd gotten offers from another school. You got to throw out the T-shirts and all those visors that you bought on the other visits, or at least, put them in a different part of your closet. But his loyalty and yours has to be to the coaches and staff and school that have staked their reputations on this 18-year-old kid who still has to get reminded to take out the garbage on Thursday afternoon. So that's the deal on accepting a scholarship. Wait as long as you can, but certainly don't overwait as well. And if your child is completely convinced, go for it. Say yes, move on. Hope you've enjoyed this series. Let me know if it was helpful to you, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks.